Well, hey everybody. If you've been here around for a while, we started out our channel. It was called Tiny House Prepper.
Yeah.
And we are preppers, but we haven't really done much videos about prepping recently. We've kind of moved on, but we're still preppers.
Yeah. Yeah.
And when I did the announcement a few last week or 2 weeks ago, whatever it was, about the new freeze-dried food company, Thrivalist, I got a number of people saying, "Why are you prepping?"
Yeah. Yeah.
So I thought that we would talk about, we've got 8 reasons why we're preppers.
Now, we've done videos before talking about why we prep, because, for over a long period of time, but it's been a while. So we thought we'd kind of share that again, especially with some of the people who are some of our newer subscribers. Yeah.
Well, hey everybody, I'm Bill.
And I'm Elizabeth. Live simple.
Live free. Like I said, we've gotten some comments about why we're prepping. I'll put just a couple of them here so you can see it.
Yeah.
So Happy Days 59 says, just wondering why you need to be preppers or survivalists. In my 70 plus years, I've never had to worry about that. And then Carol Drummond responded to that with, I'm with you. I'm 74 and never needed survival food. This is just one example of many comments that we get like this on a regular basis.
Now, I want to emphasize that prepping is for emergencies, okay? For things that are unexpected.
Yes. Yes.
You're not going to, if you know something's going to happen, like a vacation, you plan for it, you do what you need to do to go on the vacation. But prepping, by definition, is for unexpected emergencies that come up.
Yeah. Yeah, where you suddenly don't have access to the things that you normally have access to, and are you going to be okay?
Right.
Yeah.
And so I want to make a distinction here between hoarding and prepping, because a lot of people, they find out we're preppers and they call us hoarders. Well, it's a totally different thing.
Oh, goodness, yes.
A hoarder is somebody who, well, let me give you a perfect example. Remember the great toilet paper shortage of, when was it, 2020?
2020, yeah.
People were hoarders because they discovered that there was a shortage and they went down and bought as many as they possibly could. They'd buy 6 months worth because they were afraid it wouldn't be there. And that is what created the shortage, everybody hoarding it.
Everybody's suddenly buying tons of toilet paper.
But
yeah.
You know what happened with us during that? We didn't even have to buy toilet paper.
We never bought a single roll of toilet paper during that whole year.
Because we were prepped. We had bought them in advance when there was no big demand for it.
Right. That means, like, if I went shopping 4 times in a month, I might buy toilet paper all 4 times, but not a bunch of it. I just got extra and kept kind of slowly accumulating enough extra to take us through an emergency time.
Right, and then once we were stocked to the point we wanted to be, then we just replaced it as we used it.
Yeah, then I didn't keep putting more, right.
Instead of being hoarders, we were actually the opposite of that, and hoarders put a drain on the system. We actually put less drain on the system because we didn't have to buy toilet paper that whole time.
Yeah, we were not in competition. We did not compete with anybody needing toilet paper. We never even went to buy it, so that we were not in the way, In fact, my sister and I both had opportunities to give people toilet paper when they needed it. So, yeah, it was worth it having it ahead of time.
So hoarding is panic buying when there's a shortage, buying up as much as you can, creating even more shortage, making it more difficult for other people. Prepping is to slowly buy it ahead of time without putting a drain on the system, so that when there is an emergency, you don't have to panic.
Right. Yep. And you're not one of the people that are vying for whatever little bit is left.
Right.
You're kind of out of the way. Yeah.
Now, I want to mention too that when talking about prepping, we talk a lot about freeze-dried food. Prepping is not just food.
Oh, not hardly.
It's the whole gamut of everything that you would need to live. We're talking housing, we're talking heat or air conditioning, warm housing. In the winter you need warm housing.
In fact, in a real cold climate, that's probably the number one priority.
Right.
Is some place to be able to get warm.
You need water, you need lighting, all kinds of things like that. So when we tell prepping, we're talking the overall thing, not just the food.
One of the things we've tried to do is just look at what do we do in our life on like a normal everyday basis, and what would happen if I suddenly didn't have those resources available. And so that, I can't get too much medicine ahead, but I do try to make sure that I get the maximum amount I can get when I can get it.
Right.
If I want to be able to make something in the kitchen, I'm glad I have a hand done mixer, a little handheld mixer. I have a way to make coffee without having to have electricity. Just thinking about all the different things that you do, and if something happened, would you be able to do what's necessary?
Right.
Yeah.
Now we do also have some solar. We got it on our truck where we can plug it in, to the house. We also have a little solar generator, but we also have redundancies, like she said, of like a crank mixer and things like that, where we can use it without electricity.
Right.
If you have a week of clouds and you don't get solar, then you got to do something else.
Right, right. Well, anything that can still be done the good old-fashioned manual way.
Right.
And there's so many things out there that it's not that hard to figure out a way to be able to do it like people did it for hundreds of years,
Yeah.
And of course, because the weather is cold here in Virginia in the winter, we put in a wood stove. And we've tried to make sure that we have wood available. We don't need it in Florida, but would certainly need it here.
Right.
So.
And we didn't put in a pellet stove because you have to buy pellets, and if there's ever a shortage, you're out of luck. We put in a wood stove because we can go out in the woods and find firewood.
Oh yeah, I mean, we wouldn't even have to cut trees down. There's so many that just fall. We could get lots of wood. Yeah.
Now, sitting down and trying to figure out exactly why it is that we're preppers, we came up with 8 reasons.
Right, and if we think of more, we'll change the number.
So I want to start with the least and go to the greatest. I guess, how do I say that?
Well,
The smallest emergency, go to the greatest emergency.
well, they can all be pretty big, but
Right.
sometimes things are short term, some are long term,
Right.
some are more devastating. And so this may seem like this first one is not a small one, but we're kind of trying to go into more drastic situations, so.
Yeah. So the first one is just basic loss of income. Now, it'll be devastating for you, but it doesn't affect the rest of the country. I guess that's what I'm saying.
We're just trying to say it's not something that's covering your whole community or the whole, area around you. Yeah.
And loss of income can come from a job loss or from illness or injury.
Yeah. And we can honestly say that we have dealt with both.
Yeah.
Pretty strongly.
It's sort of ironic to me that, during the crash of '08, we were contractors. And when the economy changed, we lost our business. And that was the first time that we were really in serious trouble.
We're fine, of course, but we lost everything.
So then with YouTube, and then we had Thrive Life, I built up my own business. And I'm thinking, this is good, okay? This is an income that I've generated on my own as an income, as a entrepreneur. I'm safe.
Yeah, right.
And then the business shut down. Thrive Life shut down.
Yeah.
I won't get into all the reasons of why that happened, but it's sort of ironic that I'm telling you, okay, this is an example of why you should buy emergency food, because you could lose your income like we did. So go buy emergency food. Wait a minute. You can't buy emergency food from Thrive.
For Thrive Life.
From
right?
Thrive Life. Anyway, so we found another company, Thrivalist. I talked about that.
But the point is that we've talked a lot about, being out of debt, about trying to keep your expenses low. But we both between losing everything in 2008, and then I lost my income as a teacher when I had the stroke. And just having the stuff we needed there so that we still could eat or do what we needed to do helped so much. And now just recently then, we've had this drastic change again, but we're okay because, we feel very prepared for it. So we talk about how important this is, and then it happened to us.
So we've had 2 instances of job loss when the contracting business went away in '08, and then with Thrive Life disappeared, and then we had one of illness when you had your stroke.
Yeah.
Because she had, how many did,
I had 68 students when I had the stroke.
and those were all individual lessons.
Yeah, half hour to 45 minutes. I'll be real honest with you. I made a good income. I was a kind of in demand teacher.
And now she doesn't really have the ability to do that anymore, because she can play as well as she always could, but if she plays for more than just a few minutes, then it affects her brain because of her stroke, and then her hand stops working and she can't play anymore.
Yeah, I can still do some teaching, I can do some playing, but it's nothing like it used to be with 20-hour days, doing lessons. So, yeah, between one moment and the next, that was gone. And that's one of the hardest things I think I've ever had to deal with, but things happen.
So, reason number one was was loss of income because of job loss or illness, sickness, injury,
Yeah.
that sort of thing. So number two is storms.
Yep.
There's different types of storms depending on where you live in the country.
Just weather issues. Yeah.
Up north in Pennsylvania where we lived, or in Colorado where we lived for a while, winter storms can be really bad.
Yeah.
And even though they are prepared up there for the
Like clearing the roads and
it can still knock out power for days or weeks at a time. And I know here in Virginia where we live now, they're not as prepared to clear the roads. And we had, gosh, what was it, in like 97 or 98 when we were here? There were a couple of epic storms down here, and there were people in smaller roads out in the rural areas that they didn't get their road plowed for like 10 days or more.
yeah, because you couldn't keep up with all of it. It was so hard.
So,
Yeah. And I think it was Hurricane Sandy that up in Pennsylvania when Hurricane Sandy hit. I know electricity was out at least a solid week, and that's way up north. And of course now with Florida, hurricanes are a serious issue now.
yeah, now in Florida with the hurricanes, if your house is destroyed or flooded, then your preps probably will be too.
However, if you just get in a situation where electricity's out for a long time, which certainly can happen, the infrastructure has crumbled pretty badly, just knowing that you've got the things you need ready to go can make a huge difference. We had someone actually talk to us, I believe it was after Adelia. They actually told us that they had never really considered how important it was to prep until they were kind of following what we were doing. And she said, thank you, because they had never had that bad of a hurricane yet in her area. And she said, we actually were okay because we had prepared.
Yeah.
Made me feel so good.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Now, another thing about storms is I know up north, storms are a regular thing. Everybody knows, everybody expects it, but they're still not prepared for it.
Yeah.
And when the weather report says there's a big storm coming in, the grocery stores would be mobbed.
And they are emptied. It's incredible.
Just within 12 hours, everything is completely empty.
It's really, really gone.
Well, when a storm was announced, we didn't even have to go to the grocery store
Right. In fact, I didn't want to go to the grocery store.
because we had everything we needed for as long as we needed it.
Yeah.
So that's storms.
Just all sorts of weather things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So number three, any kind of supply chain issues. We already mentioned the toilet paper.
Yeah, during COVID, there was a lot of problems sometimes with things getting where they needed to go.
Yeah. Well, I also want to say number four, pandemic, because that kind of goes along with the supply chain. They work together. Pandemic was not something that anybody ever experienced or ever expected, at least in our lifetimes.
Yeah.
There'd been
yeah.
pandemics like the Black Plague and all kinds of things.
Yeah.
But that was a long time ago. In the modern, 21st century, that doesn't happen. Well, we know different now.
Yeah. The last really bad one we'd even known about was like the Spanish flu right around World War I.
Right.
Yeah.
And so the supply chain can be disrupted for a variety of different reasons. Obviously, the pandemic was a problem. Economic situation could be a problem. Companies going out of business. Just all kinds of different reasons. The supply chain is so intricate.
It's complex.
Complex.
Yes,
Yeah, complicated.
So complex.
That if it breaks in just one point, it can really cause problems.
When Bill was a truck driver for so long, I gained a deep respect for the kind of structure and work and strategy it takes to keep your Walmart store stocked
Right.
like it is all the time, or some grocery store or a drugstore. It's amazing. It's just amazing.
As a trucker, I had sometimes what was called a JIT load, J-I-T, which means just in time. And what that means is like Walmart, each individual Walmart doesn't have a big warehouse in the back, and yet they completely turn over a good part of their inventory every 2 or 3 days. So we would bring them a load of merchandise just in time for them to restock their shelves.
Yeah.
So
Grocery stores do that a lot
there
too.
would be 10 or 15 trucks come in every night that with a just-in-time load, a JIT load, so that they would get what they need to restock overnight. And if there was any kind of a glitch in our supply chain, then they wouldn't have the stuff that they needed, and within 2 or 3 days, the shelves would be bare.
I was thinking about this is sort of I guess you could put it in a weather category, but that horrible earthquake in San Francisco where the highways collapsed.
Right.
Not only was it just a huge, terrible situation there, but transportation was wacky for a long time, you know, in terms of what they were used to being able to have to supply a big city.
Right. Right. So then the next one, you might not think about this, but number 5 is retirement.
Yeah.
Because especially when it comes to food, most of us, when we retire, we have a decrease in our income.
Yeah, it's even people that have really prepared, they're going to be looking at some kind of a drop in income. Yeah.
So the best freeze-dried food that you can buy has a 20 or 25-year shelf life. That means if you buy it in your early 60s while you still have a good income and you haven't, or in late 50s, and you haven't retired yet, if you buy it when you're age 60, that food's going to last until you're 85. So you can prepare for your retirement while you still have a good income, so that you don't have to spend all your retirement income on groceries.
And you know, another thing that we can count on is that as we get older and as we are going to have to come into a time of retirement, not only is it going to be realistic that our income is going to have to like drop a little bit or a lot. Another thing is we can count on is that food's going to get more expensive.
Right.
It's just the reality of it. It just gets steadily more expensive all the time.
Well, just as an example, when we first started with Thrive Life 12 years ago,
Oh my goodness, yeah.
a can of beef, diced beef, was about $50, $45, $50. When they shut down just now, the same can of beef was over $100, it was 110 or something like that. That's not because Thrive Life was that expensive. That's because groceries are that expensive.
They tried so hard to keep prices down, but if you go and just look at the price at the grocery store or just buying from anywhere, prices have gone up. They just tend to do that.
So it's actually an investment to buy food now that you can use 10 years from now because you're buying it at a much cheaper rate.
Well, in fact, almost anything that you want to have stocked around so that you'll have it if you need it is going to be less expensive earlier on than it will be later. And so, it's kind of all the prepping in a lot of ways is a little bit of a hedge against inflation.
Right.
So
those are all things that are kind of smaller. They're not.
They won't necessarily cover the entire country or
the
affect
entire world.
or affect. Well, COVID kind of did, but they're not going to, affect the entire society. You
Right.
know.
So now we're going on to bigger things, if I can call that. Number 6 would be the collapse of our dollar or the collapse of the grid.
Yeah.
Now,
Yes.
they're kind of two different things, but the collapse of the dollar, that's why I initially started prepping 15 years ago, because I saw what was happening to the deficit, and I didn't think it was going to be sustainable, and I still don't. Fortunately, that is starting to be addressed. The deficit is starting to be addressed now
Yes.
with the Doge cuts and all those kinds of things. But at any time, the dollar could collapse. We don't realize how fragile our entire money system is.
It just the whole world is on a fairly rickety money system.
Right.
Yeah.
Or if the grid collapses, if the grid goes down for any reason, that could be a real problem for us.
We are so reliant on electricity. We just got to stop and think about it. And now we're so reliant on everything being communicated on the cloud and on the internet, and all the information and everything. It's like losing electricity just pulls the rug out from under most of people's lives.
Right.
You know, and that can be something that can be addressed like locally, like if we lost our electricity at the house, then we try to use solar or do whatever we can. But sometimes things can happen that'll take down a whole big area.
Right.
You know, and one of the things that within this that I actually do is I do my banking online. It helps because I live in different places, but I keep a hard copy a written down hard copy of some of the things I really need to keep the records of, because I can't guarantee that I'm always going to be able to have access online.
Yeah.
So,
number 7 then is a cyber attack or an EMP.
oh gosh,
This is-
I started covering that, didn't I?
Yeah, you did. This is something that has never happened on a larger scale, but it could. It could very easily. And I've heard different FBI warnings and stuff like that over the years of a possible EMP or a possible cyber attack. Well, we haven't had any real major EMPs, but I think we have had different kinds of cyber attacks. Wasn't there something not too long ago about the air traffic controller system that was hijacked or something?
Yeah, they had to get on top of that really quickly.
But
yes.
the point is that could happen to anything, to any of our systems.
Tell them what an EMP is. People may.
Ele-
It's
electromagnetic pulse.
Yes.
Basically, it's a bomb that sends out electromagnetic pulse, and if it's exploded in the air above a city, it could wipe out the entire electrical grid of the entire city.
It damages anything that uses electricity.
And cars won't start.
Yeah.
Radios don't work, lights don't work. There's nothing. No, you're going back to the Stone Age, and your cars turn to stone because they're just
Yeah, they have
Yeah.
to have electricity to work.
right.
Yep.
So,
And so-
go ahead.
And in that case, you just want to be able to know that, yes, you can still keep your family warm. You can still have some access to water, which is an important thing to figure out. You will have some food. You can take care of the basics. And not for a couple reasons. One, to help protect and take care of your family, maybe extended family, maybe neighbors you care about. But it also means that you don't have to be going out and getting into all of the chaos. And so it could be very good to know.
And just one little thing I want to point out about that, if the power goes out, talking about heat, you might have a electric HVAC system in your house for your heat and air conditioning, but you put in a propane heater for auxiliary heat or emergency heat. You got 2 big tanks of propane outside that you know is going to last you for a long time. But if your propane heater has a fan in it, that takes electricity. Mm-hmm. And if the power goes out, your propane heater isn't going to work either. So in designing your emergency heating system, get something that just simply works on a passive level without using any electricity at all.
Yeah, yeah. Try to just think about what would it be like if we knew that for a month, right now in February, we're not going to have electricity. Yeah.
Now the last one, number 8, is a real big one. It's what we call the end of the world scenario, or the EOW.
Yeah, we don't like to do the hit the fan thing.
Yeah.
That's not nice. But EOW, interworld scenario.
And so what we're talking about here is the mark of the beast just before the second coming of Christ. When it comes to the point where we have to take the mark in order to buy and sell, we're not going to do that.
Well, of course not. There's no way we would ever have allegiance towards someone like the Antichrist or deny Jesus
Now-
in any way.
Just let me say here, I know that there are many of you there who are believers who believe in the pre-tribulation rapture that will be taken out before all of that happens. We don't believe that. We don't see scriptural basis for that. We believe that we'll be here for at least part of the tribulation. So we have biblical basis for that, but that's for another video. But the point is, if we don't take the mark of the beast,
Yeah, we're both wearing our voices out here.
if we don't take the mark of the beast, we won't be able to buy and sell anything.
And and the thing of it is that we need to, no matter what a person's belief system is about when things are going to happen, being prepared just in case it turns out different than you expected or we expected, so that you are thinking in terms of, okay, what if I am around when that starts happening? What am I going to do?
Right.
To be determined to take a stand for Christ, no matter what the persecution is, and also to realize, well, if that happens, am I still going to be able to maybe feed my family or keep going for a while? Yep.
Now, just let me say that if we're wrong about all of this,
We'll be thrilled.
and the pre-trib rapture is true, hallelujah.
It would be wonderful. What is it? I love Keith Green, and he used to say, pray for pre and prepare for post.
So that's the 8 reasons that we prepare, that we are preppers.
Yeah.
I hope you saw something in there that you can relate to or understand.
Yeah. And we have definitely seen it tested.
Yep.
I mean, I got to honestly say that we have certainly run into situations where we were really glad that we had a little bit set ready to help take care of things because of a crisis.
Right. Now, there's actually a lot to learn with prepping.
Oh, yeah.
It's not just storing food, like I mentioned earlier. It's all kinds of things. Storing water. How do you store water correctly to make sure it's not going to go bad? Because water can go bad if it's not stored correctly. Security, home security, all kinds of different things.
If the electricity goes out at night, how quickly can you go ahead and get yourself some light?
Right.
Yeah.
Now,
It's not just your phone.
we have an amazing training course that's available to you through our new freeze-dried company called Thrivalist. They have a sample kit that you can buy that has, I think, 14 samples of 14 different products that they have, just little packets so you can taste it. It's normally $99, but if you use my code, I can get it to you for $29. And when you get that, you also get access to an amazing video training course that has over 20 hours
Yeah.
of video training about how to become a prepper. And
How to be prepared. Yep.
and what happens is Marcelo, who owns the company and did the videos, has taken like 15 years worth of education that he has learned that would take you 15 years by trial and error to learn, and has condensed it down into these 20 hours of video where he says that if you follow them, you can be fully prepared and ready to go in 90 days. So if you'd like to find out more about prepping, just go to Thrivalist. The link is down below, and purchase the sample kit, product sample kit, and you'll get that course for free.
Yeah, the sample kit is food, so you can try all sorts of different kinds of
Yeah.
food. But then he's putting in all this training just as a bonus.
Right. It's amazing training. He's got more courses than that too, but that's the one that's free. So,
Alrighty.
well, I hope that has been helpful.
At least we just hadn't really covered things in quite a while. So I want to let you know we still believe this is very important. And I still keep my eyes open all the time for ways that I could do something even if I didn't have electricity, or what would I be able to keep doing if all of a sudden everything changed? Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So, like I said at the beginning, some people question why in the world are we preppers in the first place? Others of you know why, but you maybe haven't thought through all the different possible scenarios. So in either case, I hope this has been helpful for you.
This doesn't at all change the fact that God is our provider.
Right.
He is our protector. We like to know that if we are prepared, we can not be a drain on anyone else, and maybe be able to bless and help others. But we know that ultimately He is the provider, and the time would come with a lot of these drastic scenarios where we would just need to be simply relying on Him. So we don't want to do this instead of relying on the Lord. We just want to be well prepared so that we can maybe, like I said, not be a drain on other people that are struggling, and also, be able to bless those around us that we can.
Right. Right. And yeah, she's talking about, we actually get comments on a regular basis too of people saying that by prepping like this, we're not trusting God for our future. And anything that's done without faith is sin, basically.
Yeah.
So, they're questioning, how do I say it? They're saying, bluntly, though they don't actually say this, what they're implying is that we're living in sin because we're not living in faith that God is going to take care of us. So we have a biblical basis for why Christians should be preppers. That's in a different video. But if you're interested in that, just let us know in the comments down below, and we might come up with that, with the biblical basis for prepping.
Well, and it certainly would be that it's okay for a Christian to be a prepper.
Right.
If you feel like that you really want to do it,
Well, the bottom line is that we do everything we can to prepare, and then ultimately we trust God for the outcome.
Absolutely. I was thinking about Sandy again, that hurricane, and there were so many people in the city. We were living pretty close to New York City, that I felt so bad for them because they just didn't have any resources themselves to be able to take care of themselves. And so a lot of people were in serious trouble pretty quickly.
Yeah.
And I just felt bad because it would have only taken a little bit of understanding and of prepping to be able to be okay, because they never expected something like that to happen.
Yeah, city people look at country folk and think, how can they live out there so isolated and all that kind of stuff? We have everything we need here in the city. And that's true, until there's an emergency. And then I think actually country people are better off than city people because we have more of our own resources. We're not just living in an apartment relying on the grocery store.
Right. I mean, yeah, if there's not electricity and if you suddenly can't get the groceries you need and things like that, it's not that hard to have some preparation
Yeah.
so that at least for a short-term crisis, you're going to be okay, you know. And so my heart went out to a lot of people during that hurricane.
Yeah.
I hope I got the right. Yeah, I think it's Sandy. Make sure
I can
did
never
that right.
remember the names of
Yeah.
the hurricanes. It's 6 months after the name. I get them all confused.
Except for the ones that hit down in Florida recently. 'Cause-
Even those I can't remember the names.
well, I'll never forget Helene. So, okay.
So anyway, I hope that was helpful.
But yeah, we're really hoping that is going to give you some things to be able to think about and understand a little bit differently.
So thanks for watching.
Yeah, live simple.
Live free. You be blessed.
Yes, we love you guys. We will see you very soon.
You be prepared.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. There's no downside to being prepared.
That's right.